Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on a special edition of talking about whatever affects us globally and locally. This is The State. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. But after the break, we'll bring you the briefs and then we'll explain what we intend discussing later this afternoon. Oh yes, the solution to all your travel needs is here. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services offers you the opportunity to travel to the following countries: Canada, United States of America, Turkey, Dubai, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Malta, Germany, and other European countries, where skilled workers such as nurses, paramedics, nannies and caregivers, drivers, plumbers, masons, electricians, carpenters, painters, etc. are needed for urgent employment. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services can secure your Schengen visas with work permits. Individuals, organizations, churches, schools can contact us for their ticketing and hotel reservation, car rental services, international tour packages, travel consultation, visa assistance, and study abroad packages to all countries. We are located at Mr. Bates bus stop opposite the Calvary Baptist Church at Ankrah, Accra, or contact us on these numbers: 0544 27 9525 or 0545 622 672 or 0302 237557. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services, your destination, our pride. So welcome back. Before we sit down, we'll bring you all the briefs of what we intend discussing, the facts of the issues and what have you. But let's go straight to the screen and take a look at what the facts of this issue we intend discussing later this afternoon is all about. But the hostilities between Israel and Iran are rooted in deep ideological, political and strategic differences that have developed over decades. And so this started years ago. But Iran's Islamic Republic since 1979 views Israel as an illegitimate state. Iran supports the Palestine cause and calls for the liberation of Jerusalem, sometimes advocating for Israel's destruction. Israel intends to sees Iran's regime as an extremist and existentially threatening, particularly because of its rhetoric and the support for anti-Israel groups. Iran's nuclear program is a major trigger. Israel believes Iran is working towards developing nuclear weapons, and Israel has conducted sabotage, cyber attacks, and even targeted killings of Iranian nuclear scientists to delay or stop the program. Okay, so Iran's nuclear ambition became a central issue, and Hezbollah and Israel fought a full-scale war in 2006, indirectly putting Iran against Israel. And so in April 2024, Iran launched a massive missile and drone attack on Israel, mostly intercepted by Israeli and allied defense system. Israel retaliated with airstrikes deep inside Iran. Despite these unprecedented direct exchanges, both sides stopped short of full-scale war, likely due to the global pressures and the risk of massive escalation. The US and Western countries have supported Israel diplomatically and militarily, with Russia and China have a varying relationship with Iran, complicating global diplomacy. The conflict is tied into Sunni-Shia divisions, Arab-Israeli normalization, and energy politics in the Middle East. And so this is happening around the Middle East. Have you personally felt, that is a big question we're asking, but have you personally felt the impact of the rising fuel prices or the inflation linked to global instability? And do you think Ghana should take a stand on the international conflicts like this one? Well, that's a question we are asking, and this is what we intend finding out what the impact is to us as local people. So please stay with us on The State this afternoon as we delve deeper into the issues. Sorry, not sure.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Get ready for a transformational morning experience.
Sorena Shrine is here to build our spirituality, mental and physical well-being.
Through positive, inspiring actions and stories.
We bring you exciting activities and conversations that develop us as a people and as a nation.
We take a look at the trending issues in Ghana and the rest of the world.
And we also review the impacting stories from our local newspapers.
Every morning, we bring you stories of hope, change, and renewal.
We empower you through the Word of God and provoke you to live the purposeful life destined for you.
Join us, Anita Kwaku
and the Reverend Ajika Vincent Agbamanya, Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. as we take you on an inspiring journey, live and exclusively on WTV.
You may also join us on Facebook at WTV Ghana and on YouTube at Wesleyan TV Ghana.
Sorry, not Shrine.
Wake up to a purposeful day.
Sorena Shrine is brought to you by
Danwell Insurance, Multi-Credit Savings and Loans,
and the Methodist University Ghana.
This is the state. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. But today we are going to be discussing the Israel-Iran hostilities, and we are asking if there is any potential implication for us here in Ghana. I have been joined by Dr. Joseph Obeng, President for the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, and then Mr. Duncan Ama, who is Executive Director, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC. This is the reason why we have brought these two gentlemen into the studio, online to join us, delve deeper into this. So, as tensions escalate between Israel and Iran, the world watches closely, not just for politics, but for the economic ripple effects that are already being felt across borders. Now, Ghana may be thousands of miles away from the Middle East, but we are not immune to such a problem. Global oil prices are volatile, shipping routes are threatened, and our businesses, especially traders and full consumers, are feeling the pressure. This afternoon, we ask, how does the conflict abroad affect our wallets here in Ghana? And so these two gentlemen would help us understand. But for now, we have been joined by Dr. Joseph Obeng. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, so let's focus.
Good afternoon, madam.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. Now let's focus here. If we take a look at what is happening in Israel and then with Israel and Iran now, what will be the impacts for us here as traders and as people who are into any form of trade?
Yeah. So far as most of the goods that we sell in this country are imported, and normally they are shipped through us. Definitely is going to affect us. And then first and foremost, too, the prices of oil is going to be affected. It's going to go up because of what is happening there. You know, Iran is a major supplier of oil, even though they have sanctions. You know, China and India and other countries still buy this oil from them.
Okay.
So if there's a problem, especially this time when most of their oil fields are being burnt by Israel, definitely is going to impact negatively on the pricing of oil. And when that happens here in Ghana, you know that we are so tied with the prices of fuel. The prices of lorry fares are going to go up. And then the utility, it may also affect the pricing of utilities, electricity. You know, the recent utility increment was tied up to the price, the dollar, the rate of the forest. And so if the price of oil go up, they also use all these the fuel to power energy and other things, which is not going to augur well for us at all. Then also the time of delivery of cargo is going to go up because if care is not taken, they are going to block the Strait of Hormuz. That's the Persian Gulf is going to be closed. The Red Sea, most of these shipment goes through there, and then they will have to reroute through other areas, which is going to delay and also increase the cost of freight. And this one, they never joke with that. The shipping lines will definitely take advantage of it and then escalate the prices to go up higher than the usual prices. And so these are the areas that will directly affect us. There are also going to be shortage of containers that are going to come from these countries, and then increase the shortage in the container business through by the shipping lines. So they put all this into consideration and then increase the shipping, the freight charges.
Okay.
That is also a high component of pricing. And so these are the major areas. And the other problem would be those who also import their goods. Iran is already under sanctions, so we normally do not trade with Iran. But definitely there's some business with Israel that is also going to be impeded, because then it's going to be very difficult for one to assess the Israel market, those who are into agro business, the chemicals and all that, and sometimes pharmaceutical, and depending on the item that is procured from this area, is also going to be highly affected. Yeah.
What will be the impact? Because currently we know we are millions of miles away from Israel or Iran. We are nowhere close to them. We are borders apart. And so what will be the impact of this activity, what is going on currently, to us here in Ghana?
So one thing that we should know, that we are now in a global village.
Okay.
And anything that happens somewhere affects us, whether negatively or positively. Just recently, we're talking about how the U.S. tariffs and all that have weakened the dollar, that have also, in a way, that has also helped us to increase the strength of the city.
Okay.
And then if something comes negatively in the same way, then of course it's also going to affect us negatively. You know, the speculations around these things affect the global stock markets and all that. So definitely we cannot say that we are very far away and that the impact will not be felt here. Definitely it's going to be felt here. When oil prices go up, it's going to affect it in so many ways. Recently, we had some decrease in the oil prices. If it should go up again, then you know the negative impact on our businesses, especially the transport fares, the confusion that even comes on the pricing and all that. That alone is not going to augur well for the country. Yeah.
Well, as you said, we have seen some decrease as of the last pricing window on the pumps, and so there has been some relief for consumers. But as today, the president and then the parliament has also indicated that the fuel levy that was initially scheduled to take effect from today, June 16, has been repealed, and so we are not going to have the 1 cedi payment and what have you. Does it mean that we should prepare ourselves because there is a war between Israel and Iran?
So it is a very good coincidence, because then we are also expecting some kind of increment in the international price. So if that is so, then of course there's every rational, every prudence in that decision put on the new prices or tariffs that were imposed on the fuel. And so definitely it is in good stead, and then we have to wait and then see what unfolds and then make the necessary adjustment if there's the need to do that.
But when we get to the port, I mean, currently, what are the prices? Are we seeing any impact so far when it comes to prices at the port?
Oh, and the prices have started responding positively because we have a very significant appreciation of the cedi. Okay. The dollar has so depreciated to our favor, in our favor. And so definitely, but we've also said that this is not for all. Those who have the gains, they are passing it on. Other people do not have the gains. You know, people are also arguing that their goods have just arrived and they bought the forest at a higher rate and all that. So there are so many things, and yet there are other people who are also gotten advantage of the new rate where they will also transfer the gains, because it's very important that we share these gains with the consuming public. Because they are our customers. If they are challenged in any way in pricing and all that, it means that it's going to affect our turnover. Businesses thrive on turnover, and so it will surprise you to know that we are even more obliged to reduce prices than you will ever think as a journalist and all that. Most times they think that we are not sensitive to the price, but we are very sensitive to our own business. And much as we are traders, we are also consumers of other products. I deal in electrical products. It does not take me away from being a consumer of pharmaceutical products and all that. So the onus lies on all of us to respond positively. So prices have started coming down. Fortunately, we are in a very competitive market. Ours is not a consumer market. It's not a seller's market like Europe and elsewhere, where prices are fixed on items and you don't have any option than to buy those. Here, we have the right to bargain. There are so many traders of the same commodity lines in the same vicinity, and so you have the opportunity to come and do the necessary due diligence, punish the one who is selling higher and reward the one who is selling cheaper. So the onus lies on all of us. But you see, one problem that I've realized is that when people say that prices are not responding, imported prices have actually started responding, but the expectation of the reduction is what maybe we have to subject to. Because if people might think that maybe prices should be used to a certain percentage, there's no scientific basis on that. And so unless somebody tells us this is the expectation of reduction and all that, then the second point also being that most people, about 70% of us, depend on the domestic food production and the prices of the domestic food that we consume. You see, if you look at the inflation basket, it contains most of the goods, the food produced here locally.
Food inflation.
These are the areas that the prices.
Yeah, food inflation.
These are the areas that the.
I'm saying that food inflation is food inflation is still topping the chart.
So,
hello, sir.
Even to the imported goods. So whilst imported goods are reducing, people are so much dwelled in the food prices. And so about 70% of people who normally say that prices have not come down, they are talking about plantain, the garden eggs, the tomatoes, the groundnuts, what have you? Only you are the woman here, so you can itemize all these products, and that's really is the challenge. And that one is not for us to do, because you see, we have to do everything possible to be able to add value to our food products, pack it, and then store it. If we're able to do that, then we will have a long, you can sustain this produce when the harvest is seasonal. And when we harvest them, we should be able to add value and then store. We haven't done that. But when goods can, when we have this harvest, whether Ghanaians are fault or not, we have to be forced to consume seed. And that does not help it at all. And then also, the problem of the trader, normally they say the traders are wicked. We buy the goods from the farmer at a cheaper price and come and increase it. Forgetting about the fact that the farmer is offloading all his risk on the trader, because he will sell the goods at a higher price, but at the end of the day, when the goods are going bad or something, you need the trader to offload this risk too, and then they will give these goods. That's what people think is a cheaper price, but it's the risk that they pass on to us. You'll see so many times when on the way, maybe you travel, you see that some plantain, a car
by the roadside,
full of plantain is rotting,
by the roadside,
all that. Sometimes exactly. Sometimes when you go to the market, I know that when you are selecting the tomatoes, you press it and then take the hard ones.
Yeah.
Are you aware of that?
Yes.
And then leave the one that will get rotten the following day to the poor trader. So when we are doing all this pricing, all this comes to play, and then we are deemed to be insensitive. That is not that at all. We have to do it comprehensively, find a way that we can add value to these food stuffs, and then have a store of it, so that it can sustain all of us. Yeah.
Well, Guta and then governments came to an agreement that we would see prices in goods and services at the end of the 60-day ultimatum. That gave us about 2 months to bring down the prices, and the 2 months would end maybe around July thereabout, if not the second or the third week in July. Currently, because of this Israel-Iran hostilities, is it going to affect that directive? Are you going to shift it forward? Are we not going to see a reduction, or are we going to see a reduction in prices of goods and services?
Normally, I do not want to put time frames on this, but the meeting with the trade minister was said that I have to say something, and that's why people took me on this. And I have sometimes I think I even regret putting the timelines, because you see the prices and the appreciation of the cedi cannot stand alone when it comes to pricing. But there are other factors of pricing, including that of VAT, utility costs, and then how even this thing will be sustained. Those who have actually gotten the benefit, have people been able to get the liquidity to go and buy the forest that is coming down. Other people are saying that even the sales is not there for them even to sell. So there are so many variables that come to play when it comes to the costing of these things. But in all this, because we had quite a significant reduction of the forest rate, prices have responded positively. When I went to Parliament, I itemized most of the items, and they really agreed. What I asked them was probably the expectation of the Ghanaian, the rate of reduction that they are expecting. But we also said that we have to tie it up to the other factors, like a special VAT. The cascading effect of VAT is still worrying businesses and the pricing of the goods that we sell.
All right. So currently, the traders, how are you going to address them concerning these issues, especially those whose items?
Because that's where you buy your goods, and the transportation through that area is going to be affected, is going to delay the import. So, and this particular instance, there's nothing but much one can do, only to hope that the fighting between these two great countries should cease as early as possible. Otherwise, it's going to affect the whole of the world once we are in a global village. So that we only have to hope. But if somebody want to buy goods, you buy. The duty is for the shipping lines to know how they will price the cargo, and then also find the appropriate routes to ship these goods for us, for our convenience and for their convenience too.
But I hope that you are in contact with some of these shipping lines in terms of trade.
Yeah, once we are always in this business already, because of the Houthis, what the Houthis were doing, they were bombing the ships and all that. It made most of the shipping lines reroute through the southern part of the Africa here, even though it prolonged the time and also increased the cost. So in that case, I wouldn't think that it will affect too much, because they have already dodged that area through the behavior of the Houthis and all that. And so if that percent, but I wouldn't know the other factors, because the shipping lines, they are always there to take advantage of situations. And that's, I would say without any distance, that they will take advantage, cite it, and increase the freight charges for it. Sometimes they will say that they are in shortage of containers coming from that corridor. You understand? And so when there's shortage, then of course there's increase in price. And so there might be so many factors that will lead to negate our efforts to reduce the prices if the fight goes on.
All right, sir. That will be. We hope that this would work for all of us, because looking at our neighboring countries and looking at what is happening miles away is what we are all hoping that will go down, so that we can also do our trade, we can also go around our daily businesses. But we'll still be talking about this, but we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we would come back to you, and then you tell us what the way forward will be like for us as Ghanaians in terms of our trade, and then in terms of our fuel prices and what have you. So we'll be back after the break.
Okay.
Oh yes, the solution to all your travel needs is here. Ankrah Lodge and Travel Services offers you the opportunity to travel to the following countries: Canada, United States of America, Turkey, Dubai, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Malta, Germany, and other European countries, where skilled workers such as nurses, paramedics, nannies and caregivers, drivers, plumbers, masons, electricians, carpenters, painters, etc. are needed for urgent employment. Alan Cash Lodge and Travel Services can secure your Schengen visas with work permits. Individuals, organizations, churches, schools can contact us for their ticketing and hotel reservation, car rental services, international tour packages, travel consultation, visa assistance, and study abroad packages to all countries. We are located at Mr. Bates Bus Stop, opposite the Calvary Baptist Church at Abaka, Ankrah, or contact us on these numbers: 0544-279525 or 0545-622-672 or 0302-237557. Alan Cash Lodge and Travel Services, your destination, our pride.
Under the distinguished patronage of our founding churches, the Methodist, Presbyterian, Anglican, the Evangelical Presbyterian, the AME Zion, and other affiliate churches of Ghana, the Boys and Girls Brigade Councils of Ghana present the Brigade's Hour. Hallelujah! A stimulating and instructive hour-long, made-for-you TV magazine extravaganza featuring lively archival recap of the history of the Boys and Girls Brigades as international and domestic ecumenical, non-denominational, regimented Christian organizations. Join us on the extensive journey of discovery of the 4 core pillars of all our programs: the physicality of our camping, expedition, and drills, the spiritually uplifting praise, worship, and intensive Bible study for all our boys and girls in our company meetings, highly educational content of our artificial intelligence and robotic contact sessions for all our boys and girls, and our extensive basic and command courses for all our officers. As for the social fit and balance, we rely on recreation, sports, and our youth parliament. Take a cozy front seat and soak in our captivating segments: district, regional, and national reports, denominational reports, international briefs, and the frills and thrills Brigade Drills. Be interactive with us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and win excellent prizes on our monthly GB and BB quiz as you join us on phone. Is the Brigade Hour showing live on WTV and PCGTV on Wednesdays at these exclusive times. GB, seek, serve, follow Christ. BB, sure and steadfast. Brigade's Hour. Oh, you dozen, Toffee. Praise God, praise God. Christ in tea, you respond, yeah, addition. I'm excited to announce to you, friends in the Lord, are you seeking for a platform where you can pray? Open baby up a soul bomb pie. Now ninyami edi inkita home. Bibi chiro so. And I'm na the same kum. And you coming home. Let's go into the prayer room on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. to meet seasoned ministers of God that God has raised to impact your life. Remember, John Wesley said, I have too much to do, therefore I spend several hours in prayer in able to do it. That is why we are calling upon you. Meet myself, Reverend Hosea Osei, and the Evangelism Missionary Renewal Directorate as we lead you into the prayer room where we encounter Christ. And I believe your life will never be the same. Call your friends or loved ones every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. where we will encounter Christ. God bless you. See you on our screens on WTV every Friday 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. God bless you.
We pray that each and every one of us
Welcome back. This is still the States. We have been talking about the Israel-Iran hostilities and its impact on Ghana. We've been speaking with Dr. Joseph Obeng, who is the president for the Ghana Union of Traders Association. Sir, welcome back. Thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you.
All right. So we are not praying that this issue or the war between Israel and Iran should escalate. But should it escalate, Ghana is a net importer of petroleum products. And so what do you think should be our next point of contact?
Yeah. So definitely, I learned the president have directed his ministers to observe the trend.
Yes.
What is happening in this. The president is thinking aloud. So I know that they will act prudently and then find solutions to it. I believe by now they are thinking through how they will do the necessary balancing acts. When these things happen, we have to absorb some of these things. When we have windfall, when the prices came down, they know how to do this balancing. And so they should be able to do this to help mitigate the plight. If price should go up, we pray that it should not go high to affect the gains that recently we are having. Yeah.
And then I would ask, what are some of the goods that, apart from petroleum products, what are other goods that we get from these two countries? And if possibly this issue escalates, what are the other alternatives that we have as traders?
Yeah, and so, but fortunately, I wouldn't say fortunately, but factually, Iran is already under sanctions. So we normally do not ply our trade there. But for Israel, I know most people do their trade by buying some essential commodities from there, especially agrochemical and those things. And so it's going to create a lot of problem, because then it's going to be difficult for you to even travel to that corridor, because the airspace is shut and all that. And so these are the things that is going to affect us. But I believe that we have so many alternatives. Fortunately, those are not our biggest corridors for trading. As I've already told you, our bigger area for business is China, and then India, and then Europe. And so we have so many areas that we buy our goods. And I think when it comes to procurement of goods, this area of trade is going to be insignificant, and that it might not affect any shortages at all. What it might affect is the transportation cost, the freight charges, as I've already talked about, and then the prolonged time of delivery, because then the shipping lines are going to reroute through a very long areas rather than the Red Sea and then the Strait of Hormuz, that's around the Persian area. So these are the things that is going to affect us, but it's not going to. I can't speculate any negative around this, except with these challenges that I've talked about. Yeah.
Well, so with all of this, we are not praying that this should escalate, but in situations like this, we are not having a majority of our goods and services coming from these countries. We are having them come from China and then some parts of Europe. But we are not saying this should also happen to any of these countries. But should these happen, what should the local industry do? The local industry players, especially manufacturers and producers in this country, what should be the next step for them?
During the time of COVID, we should have learned a great lesson. because the whole world was shut. That we should have learned that we have to be self-sufficient. So it's very important that we take it serious. The fact that the world keep changing, especially in direction of these confrontations among nations, and then even the sickness as diseases as was indicated in the COVID and all that. So we should know that we cannot be like this forever, and that when such things happen, how are we going to be able to rely on our own selves?
Yeah.
And that's why we have to start thinking about import substitution. And I've always supported, especially in the areas that we have comparative advantage, because madam, you should know that we cannot produce everything in the world. It's not possible for us to do that. But at least we can dwell on the areas that we have comparative advantage, especially the areas of agriculture, food production, and all that. Shouldn't be a problem for a country like Ghana, where we have the land, the very, very fertile land, and all that. All that we have to do is to think outside the box and to make value addition, be able to pack and pack it well. Our goods shouldn't be just the raw food product. It should be packed. As when you go to Europe, you see everything packed in cans and rubbers and all that, very beautiful. These are the things that we do that will be able to sustain the harvest that we make, the seasonal harvest that we make. So you know your produce is seasonal, and you do not do anything to add value and store it and put it in the shops and all that for a longer period of consumption. Then of course we do not know what we are doing.
Doc,
So
from what you are saying now, does it mean that we virtually import everything into this country?
I must say, as you all, if where you are sitting, look around the things that you buy from the supermarket and all that, and give me the answer. So I can confidently say that what we produce here locally will not be up to 20%.
Okay.
Otherwise, we wouldn't have been going all the time. But you see, I've already also said that it's impossible that we can produce everything, because sometimes the inputs of manufacturing need to be imported. What the manufacturing that we do, about 90% of the input of production are all imported, about 90%. And that's why I was saying that we have to dwell on the areas that we have comparative advantage, where we have the raw materials, where we have the food that is produced there, enhance on it, add values to it, and make us a hub of manufacturing of those things here. And it will make us rich by itself, because it means that those things will be abundantly here. And especially when we know what we need most. I've told you, Ghanaians consume the food that we need, because life is about what? It's about food, clothes, and shelter.
Yeah.
So if we're able to produce, and we have the land that can produce for us to eat, the important thing, the important item that we're talking about will be the secondary matters for us. Because if your stomach is full, then you can have these alternatives, and we can even be self-sufficient. By that alone, it will to take us far. So these are the areas that we have to look, and then we can comfortably stay here without necessarily thinking that there will be some calamity somewhere in the world that is going to affect us also in the vicinity of habitation here in Ghana.
But Doc, you are the president of GUTA. What do you think is the problem? What do you think the barrier is coming from us not manufacturing what we are supposed to manufacture, even in its smallest form?
Yeah, it's because we haven't taken our time to know our priority areas and make deliberate effort to support those areas. I've kept on saying comparative advantage, and you see that the previous government was thinking in that line of 1D, 1F, and all that. If we would have done it well, then it means that we would have recognized where we have the advantage, the raw materials, and adding values and all that. Now, the new government is also thinking about 24-hour economy that is also directed in a quest for industrialization. And so all that is left for us to be able to identify key areas that we say that here we have this advantage, and we are going to give subsidies, we are going to give we are going to make sure that people produce these goods so that Ghana becomes a hub of these things, and especially in the areas of food. That one is very important to me. If people have something to eat, and that one we can easily do it, you know.
Doc, you keep hinting on food.
Yeah, because when you are full, but again, about 70% of your problem is solved.
Wow.
And so it's very important. That's why I've told you, most people are still emphasizing prices have not gone down. They are all talking about the food prices in the market and not the imported one. The imported one comes as a secondary matter. Prices have started going down. So we should be able to identify these areas, make the deliberate effort that we are pushing these areas to succeed. When we are able to do that, it's going to help us create the employment that we need. It's going to help us create the wealth that we need to grow, because then we are going to be a hub of manufacturing of those emphasized area where our neighboring countries and the rest of the globe will also fall on for those products. But if we want to produce everything and then we haven't mastered of any of them, and we are not even competitive in any of them, then we are basically doing nothing, and then we will have a very weak capacity to sustain any shocks that come through the a problem in the globe or elsewhere in the globe.
Okay.
So we can be, we can start preparing, embrace ourselves for this that I've said, to be very self-sufficient in the areas that we know we can do better.
Well, successive governments have been hinting on Ghana's industrialization drive, such as the one district, one factory issues and all that. Is this can we turn this into a plan to industrialize our country? And is there some funding, some government support that could be given to these businesses, that could be given to these private persons who would go into such businesses and then in turn bring down the issue of employment rate and then what have you, and then bring revenue back into the country?
I think I've already enumerated all those funds that government should have first identify. We have to be able to identify what we want to do. If we want to be industrialized, are we thinking about building Airbuses, Boeing, and all that? We don't have the capacity to do that. Are we thinking about manufacturing high technological items in this country? Definitely, it will take a longer time for it to reach there. And so, identifying the areas that we have the capacity, we have the raw material, then we have the resources also to manage. It's very important. You know, sometimes we think when we say manufacturing, we normally think about the high technological areas like aluminium integration, and I used to hear those things a lot. And then we forget about the little things that the Chinese people started, the Japan and all that.
Okay.
You see this in 𝗟𝗓𝗩𝗘 that we do. People now, Ghanaians, most of them have started thinking about adding value to our food products, especially if you look at plantain chips, if you look at the 𝗟𝗓𝗩𝗘s, if you look at the kubengwa, there are so many things. The alata samra that they now put it.
There's now even Gary
all
in there.
that.
There's also Gary in sachets and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Gary, the Sito. This is the basis of our industrialization, but they don't seem to even know that. Because I went to Barbados some time ago, and then some traders there were asking about this shea butter, and they were asking about the plantain chip. They say that ours tastes very well
Better.
and all that. So why can't we produce in abundantly our packing? It's all about packing, adding value and pack it well. And we are up there. We have the granules, how we cut the cake, and all these. There are so many things I cannot, but we are doing it sharply. How are we going to put our attention to dwell on these little areas where it's not going to take a chunk of our resources, because you need simple devices and manufacturing machinery, and very simple and basic machinery for these areas, and we can bring them in abundance, because it's not going to take a chunk of our resources, and we don't seem to know that that is the basis of our industrialization. If we want to do that, packing, value addition, and then production, mechanized farming and all that, that will feed us, and the machinery to add the values, and then the packing material that will pack it in a very beautiful manner, and it's not too difficult for us to do. We only have to identify and then do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Obeng. But before we finally draw the curtains on this program, what will be your final comments to all those watching, traders, inclusive, manufacturers, consumers, all together?
Yeah. So as I'm saying, we are all consumers. If even you are a manufacturer, you produce one thing, and so the onus lies on us all to mitigate the plight of the consuming public, who are our customers. We have an obligation to serve them, but then also the onus lies on government to ensure on sustainability of the gains that we are having, that we should be able to sustain the gains. When that is happening, the market forces mean the prices, and then I also advise our traders also to bridge up the prices. If even you have the old price, and then you bought the new forest, you only strike a reasonable average, and so that you can come in between. Because if care is not taken, you overprice yourself out of production.
Yeah.
Because the market there is very competitive. If your goods are perishable, it means that you overprice them to perish, and then also and then also you are not able, because other people are having the advantage of the reduction of the forest, and they are not waiting for you. And if you overprice your goods, it means that you are unable to service your debt at the bank, because we have to service our debts. We have to also pay our suppliers and all that. So it's the education that we give, because we are not in price control regime where we can force anybody to do anything. We can only educate, and that's what I've just done, and I believe people will take me in good faith.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes when I talk like this, I receive a lot of bashing, but that's part of the
Yes.
the business that I've taken up on myself.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too, sir. Thank you so much, Doc. So we've been speaking with Dr. Joseph Obeng, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA. We've been speaking on the Israel-Iran hostilities. Thank you so much for joining us on this segment. Wednesday, we promise to hit your screens again. Enjoy the rest of the program.